My name is Joel. I am from western part of Nigeria, to be precise, Ibadan. I grew up not really knowing the loving and compassionate warmth of parenthood. I became orphan at a very tender age and was brought up by my uncle, my father's younger brother. In my childhood, hostility was my lot, though, from the initial, I didn't take cognizance of it as I have not felt otherwise before. But my lot in life was degenerating day by day. I wouldn't understand why my late father's biological brother would subject me to such an inhuman treatment, and to be honest, I don't have anywhere to run to. My fate was fixed, no allowance for normal or ordinary life. The wickedness against me grows still, as he realized that the more cruelty he measures to me, the more I grow in wisdom and stature. Though I was always looking pale and haggard, in the process of time they started cooking my food in a different pot. At that time I didn't know to what intent they were doing that. It was much later I realized that sometimes they poisoned my food. Does that sound bizarre or blackmailing? You may doubt it, but listen to me. Jesus is the shield to the vulnerable, and he is the father to the fatherless. I should have been dead long before now, but Jesus saved my life to tell the world that he is the ultimate power. When poisons could not yield the desired result of his ambition, he resorted to witchcraft. One night, he walked to where I was sleeping, a hut without door, and shouted my name in a mystical manner. I answered, stood up, and walked to him. It was the dead of the night. There was no moon or stars, and the cloud was heavy with rain and ready to pour. He spoke to me, audaciously, not like his normal way of talking, that I should follow him. I was acting as if I was not in my senses. I followed him sheeply into an evil forest. He led me to a mighty kapok tree. Kapok trees are a very large and mighty tree. Its trunk and branches are covered with thorns. Its height could average 15 to 20 feet tall. Its circumference at the base, depends on the size, could be around 15 to 18 meters. He carried me on one of his shoulders and began to move upwards. The experience was strange and scary, but I couldn't shout or ask him until we reached the pinnacle of the tree. He made me to stand on one of the branches. At this time, the storms that preclude rain was high and rain was already dripping. He then told me to jump down. I was so scared to do that bit. So he shouted mystically that I should jump down. I was very terrified and was about to loose my grip on the tree and jump down. Then I heard another strong voice out of the blue. Joel, don't. Then I held back. The voice infused strength to me, and I could gain my consciousness also. But to my utter amazement, the voice that brought consciousness and strength to me was like a mighty force and flung my uncle away. I could not see him again. At this time, the rain was pouring torrentially with thunder and lightning, and I was up in a very high tree in a dense darkness. The fear of the whole scene was terribly hurting my mind. I could not close my eyes, neither could I leave them open. After some while, the rain subsided and there was some gentle breeze. My fear, however, was not abated. More so, the thought on how to come down from the tree crowded my brow. Suddenly I saw something bright coming towards my end. My fear in this sight, exacerbated in no mean way, it was horrendous as I was watching it coming fast. When it was near, it appeared like a human palm, no hand attached to it, just the palm, but so large. The palm could contain more than 100 people. It came down to where I was up in the tree, and I heard a voice enter it. I lay in it. I was so insignificant in it. I did not really know what was happening other than the palm moving in the forest, until it stopped moving and I heard come down. I opened my eyes and saw that the palm was brought close to the ground that I could jump down. So I jumped and took some steps away and then turned back. But I never saw the palm again. I also discovered that I could find my way home. The day was not fully dawned yet. I was drenched in cold. My body, chest and stomach was blistered from where I gripped the thorn tree. I entered my doorless hut and lay me down, and guess what? I fell asleep immediately. After I woke up and my uncle saw me, he was so shocked. I didn't know how he managed to come, neither did he know how I came home. He became terrified of me and temporarily quite his malicious designs against me until I left him to seek greener pastures in the city. It may surprise you to know that all these while I didn't know Jesus. In fact, there were no churches in my village at that time. Everybody was a traditionalist. It was in the city I met Jesus, who has been my Savior all the way, even when I didn't know him. His love is indeed unconditional. After a long time, I decided to pay home a visit. When they saw me, they pretended to be happy, but I didn't know from the onset. His wife rushed to the kitchen and prepared food for me. The food was set on the table for me. As I was praying on the food to eat, out of the blue came a goat and hit the table, broke it, and the food was poured on the ground. We were all shocked at the mysterious scenario. Afterwards, they decided to prepare another food. The second food was set before me, this time on the ground as there was no table, and as I closed my eyes to bless the food, guess what? No wind, no rain, the wall of the mud house fell and smashed the food. Everybody was surprised. They wanted to cook for me the third time, but I refused. What was this that was happening? Not long from this time, my uncle was about to go the way of all the earth, and began to confess all the evils he has been doing to eliminate me, most of which I didn't know, and all these was because of farmland. My father was the heir apparent to my grandfather. After the demise of my grandfather, my father inherited the property, not knowing that my uncle has eye on it. So with diabolic means, he killed my father. But he couldn't lay claim on the land still because I was already born. And if he must use the land by our tradition, he must take custody of me and be the regent over the land. And this is the reason why he adopted me. But there is danger posed to his ambition so long as I am alive. Therefore, he planned to eliminate me also. Yes, it's because of the land of my heritage that I was made to suffer all these. However, this is not all my story. It is not the end. The saving power of Jesus is so fascinating. It's so nice and mind-captivating to be true, but this is true life story. After we have fulfilled all traditions, I went back to the city. One morning, a strange man surfaced in our street in full regalia of native doctor. He was making incantations. People were running toward him and gathering round about him with rapt attention. I was curious, so I followed suit. The man continued the incantations until he observed that he has secured a significant number of people. He uses his magic rod to point an electric pole and said, "From this pole to another pole," pointing a pole which is some meters away, and said all the people living within this pole should give certain amount of money to him, and he gave ultimatum for the payment. He also threatened that if any fail to comply, the person will be at the peril die. The whole scene was so irrational to me. I expected to refute reactions from the people, but the people were expressing a kind of relief. They were thanking God for the mild demand from the native doctor. I tried to question this spellbender. Everybody seemed to be scared and beckoned on me to keep quiet. Then someone with panic-stricken face quickly called and told me, with a trembling voice, the details of the man, how he was so powerful and matchless magus, that no one dare question him in whatever he does, or else the person will be in danger of death. That they even thank God that the man is mild with them today. This information and the manner with which it was presented excited a strange indignation in me. I went to the man and questioned his audacity. Everybody was scared spellbound. The man looked into my eyes to terrify me, and said, "Young man, it's like I don't know me. Obviously you don't know me. Why would you die before your time? Why didn't you ask about me? Today is a good day, that is why I am mild. Tender apology and do my bidding, or you are in danger of death." I laughed sarcastically and asked how. Everybody's mouth was open in fears of immense surprise and in expectation of imminent fate. The man concluded my fate that I was going to die, and that he would want to show me how I would die, as nobody was in the other side to tell me the story of how it would happen. At his command, they brought to him a healthy and robust goat. He dropped his magical rod. The goat was made to cross it. Instantly, the goat stretched and jerked 3 times and died. Thereafter, the man asked me to cross it also. I crossed it like jumping over the rod. I did it like 7 times and picked it up and bid it to prove to him that Jesus is the ultimate power. The man at this scene was shocked, disgraced and humiliated. The throng was entranced, and the spell over them was lifted. Hallelujah. Since that time I never saw him in that axis again. Jesus is the ultimate power, and he is most loving. Then the expanse of the universe is his love for us. His love does not impute iniquity or find fault. Because of his infinite love, he would want to save any, regardless of what they did and that entangled them. And because of his infinite power, he can save to the utmost. Hebrews 7 verse 25 says, "Wherefore he is able also to save them to the uttermost that come unto God by him." Isaiah 63 verse 1 bit says, He is might to save. Daniel 6 verse 27 says, He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. Jesus is, indeed, mighty to save.